Hi folks, welcome back. Today I want to share the results of a recent study published in the Journal of the American Heart Association that I happened to chance upon on the effects of inadequate sleep on brain health and the risk of dementia in people with high blood pressure. Now, we've always known that inadequate sleep is detrimental to brain health, but it gets really interesting if you have high blood pressure as well. So in this study that I'm referring to, researchers followed over 600 participants from a very famous study called the Framingham Heart Study, which is a long-running project that has really pretty much taught us a lot and a great deal about heart health overall over the years. First, the researchers collected detailed information about each participant's sleep habits and blood pressure. They didn't just rely on self-reporting, they actually measured these factors objectively. Now, for sleep, participants wore a special device that tracked their brain waves, eye movements, and muscle activity throughout the night. This gave the researchers a goldmine of data about not just how long participants slept, but also the quality and the structure of their sleep. For blood pressure, researchers utilized in-office readings taken by trained professionals. They measured each participant's blood pressure multiple times just to ensure accuracy. Participants were classified as having hypertension if their readings consistently exceeded the threshold of 130/80 or if they were taking blood pressure medications. Next, the researchers put the participants through cognitive tests that assessed key mental skills like memory, attention, and problem solving. One test in particular stood out called the Trails-B test. Now, in this test, participants had to connect dots alternating between numbers and letters. So for example, 1 to A to B to 3 to C and so forth. And they had to do it as quickly as possible, which is quite a challenging task that really puts your mental flexibility and processing speed to test. Finally, the researchers took detailed pictures of participants' brains using MRI scans. Now, these scans allow them to measure the volume of different brain regions and also to look out for any signs of injury or abnormalities. So the big question, what did they find? Well, first, let's look at cognitive performance. The researchers found that in people with hypertension, every hour of reduced sleep was associated with poorer performance on particularly the Trails-B test. But here's the kicker. The association was not seen in people with normal blood pressure. So it's as if hypertension was amplifying the cognitive consequences of poor sleep. Now, the MRI scans told a similar story. In participants with hypertension, shorter sleep was linked to a higher burden of what they refer to as white matter lesions, now which are essentially small areas of dead tissue in the brain. I'll touch base on that in just a second. Now, the scans also revealed that short sleepers with hypertension had less gray matter volume in regions involved in memory and thinking. It was almost like their brains were shrinking faster. Now, remarkably, these brain changes were not seen in people with normal blood pressure, even if they were skimping on sleep. Now, hold on to that knowledge for 1 second and let's explore what we know about how inadequate sleep and high blood pressure independently affect brain health over time. For starters, we know that getting enough sleep or shut-eye is vital for your memory and thinking skills. Numerous studies have shown that people who consistently get less than the recommended about 7 to 9 hours per night tend to score lower on cognitive tests and have a higher risk of developing dementia later in life. But then the question is, why is that? Now, if you didn't know, one of the primary functions of sleep is to eliminate toxic proteins that can hinder brain function. Throughout the day, as the brain cells are active, they produce waste products, including one known as beta amyloid. Now, beta amyloid is a sticky protein that can accumulate and form plaques, disrupting communication between brain cells. During sleep, the brain activates a specialized cleaning system known as the glymphatic system, which flushes out the quote-unquote the debris, effectively resetting the brain for the next day. So what happens when you skimp on sleep? Well, those toxic proteins start to accumulate, and over time, that buildup contributes to the development of dementia. In fact, there have been studies that have found that even just depriving yourself of 1 night of sleep can lead to an increase in the accumulation of these beta amyloids in the brain. Now, let's also talk about blood pressure. Obviously, you know that your brain is an energy-hungry organ that relies on a complex network of blood vessels to deliver oxygen and nutrients it needs to thrive. When your blood pressure is consistently high, it puts extra strain on these delicate vessels. over time, the constant high pressure can cause tiny injuries to the vessel walls, making them less flexible and more prone to rupture or blockage. This damage can lead to a type of injury called white matter lesions, which I mentioned earlier. Now, these lesions can disrupt the communication pathways between different parts of the brain, leading to slowdowns in mental processing speed and problems with attention and decision-making skills. So while we've always known that inadequate sleep can take a toll on brain health over time, now we know that the effect is even worse if you have high blood pressure. So this raises an essential question, which is, could better sleep help fight dementia in hypertensive individuals? Now, obviously, while more research is needed, it is almost a foregone conclusion that prioritizing good sleep could definitely benefit your brain regardless of your blood pressure. So let me share a few quick tips about, getting good sleep and also managing your blood pressure. So let's start with sleep. It's best practice to maintain a regular sleep schedule, even on the weekends, to keep your brain's internal clock in sync for optimal function. It's also great to establish a relaxing pre-bed routine to enhance sleep quality. Consider taking a warm bath, reading, or practicing some gentle stretching or meditation to signal to your brain that, hey, it's time to wind down. Another important sleep hygiene tip is to create a cool, dark, quiet sleeping environment. Consider investing in some blackout curtains or eye mask to block out any stray light. If noise is an issue, obviously take care of it. Or some people prefer to, get maybe earplugs, or some people even prefer white noise just to create some kind of a peaceful ambience. Whatever works for you, just make sure you're doing it. Now, when it comes to timing your activities, aim to get your exercise in early in the day, or at least a few hours before bedtime. Physical activity is great and I highly recommend it. But however, it can be stimulating. So you want to give your body enough time to cool down before sleep. And hopefully this is obvious enough to try to avoid caffeine and alcohol close to bedtime. Now, while a nightcap may make you feel drowsy initially, it can actually disrupt your sleep architecture, reducing the amount of time you spend in the deep restorative stages of sleep. Now, let's talk about blood pressure. Now, if you have hypertension, obviously working with your doctor or healthcare provider to get it under control is crucial for protecting your brain health. I'm not going to dwell too much on managing hypertension, as there are tons of videos on the subject, even including on this channel. So just make sure you're going through the usual stuff, watching your diet, physical activity, and stress management. If there are any lifestyle changes that are required for you to remove any stresses from your life to bring your blood pressure under control, definitely go for it. Take your medications as prescribed. That is the route you're going. If you're using supplements or food to manage your blood pressure, whatever the case may be, just make sure that you're doing what suits you best to bring down your blood pressure for long-term brain health. I sincerely hope you found some value in this video. If you did, please give us a thumbs up and also check out this video on your screen that I believe would be beneficial to you as well. Stay blessed. Catch you on the next video.